Well, Jets fans, this was quite the day. The NFL trade deadline is officially ended at 4:01. This is the Gangs All Here live show presented by the New York Post Sports. I'm Ryan Sampson. That's our Jets beat writer, Brian Costello and Frankie Vittorini from U Stadium. We're here to talk about and react to what a wild day and what I have never seen, honestly, ever in my lifetime, cause one team going all in a fire sale mode, it seems like. We're waiting to see if there's anything else that trickles through, but it doesn't seem like there will be at the point. But we're here to break it all down in today's episode. Here with you fans, get your reactions as well. Get Kaz's reaction on to what the heck happened between the Sauce and Quinnen deals as the news broke today. So I'll start with just welcoming you guys in. Kaz, how you feeling? Like, what was your day like today, just seeing this all transpire in front of you?
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. I didn't expect it, obviously. Ryan, I thought there was a chance with Quinnen. We talked about it a lot. Like, it was clear he was unhappy here. He kind of made that known to people. I'm not sure if he actually asked for a trade or not. I know some people have said that, but I haven't been able to pin that down. But it was clear he was unhappy. So I thought Quinnen, there was a chance. I thought there was a chance with Quincy. That didn't happen. But the Sauce one was completely a shock. I never saw that coming. Never heard rumblings about that or anything. So that one was really a shocker.
Frankie, what were your thoughts just instantly when you saw both these deals come through?
Completely shocked. Just an utter shock. The Sauce deal specifically, I mean, that just came out of left field. I thought when you give a guy a new deal in the offseason like they did, you would figure he'd be here for at least a few more years. I'm curious what happened there. I don't know if anything will come out because something changed between the time that they gave him that deal and maybe up until a few weeks ago. Apparently, they were discussing with Indianapolis, who was out there looking for help on defense.
Well, I think 1-7 happened, Frankie.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I think this team, I think just like this team has been worse than I thought it was going to be, worse than you thought it was going to be, a lot worse than Mr. Sampson thought it was going to be, Mr. 10-7.
Hey, they could still go 10-7.
I think this team was a lot worse than Aaron Glenn or Darren Muji thought it was going to be. And I think that's what changed between July and now.
Yeah, I'll say this.
I have guys officially, no Brees, no Jermaine trades. They're on the team. Nobody else.
Yeah, guys, I'll say this, and I'm ecstatic as a fan right now. I know there's a lot of fans out there that are sad about Sauce leaving and Quinnen. It was not working with those guys here. We know the caliber of players that they were. They are at the top of their field in what they do, but it just wasn't working. There was a stench there with that core. I give it Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn a ton of credit for saying, hey, let's get rid of these guys because they're not working here, and let's get a return where we're the only team in the NFL that has 5 first-round picks in the next 2 years. By the way, no other team has 4. So we have more first-round picks than anyone in the NFL. There's 3 teams that have 3 in the next couple years. So that's where I see a little bit of light at the end of this tunnel, guys, is like they can do something with those picks. And it doesn't have to be the players they pick at those spots. They can trade those picks to move up this year or next year. I just think that's what you need to do to differentiate yourself amongst the 31 other teams in the NFL. There was nothing we were looking forward to. I'm talking about Tanner Engstrand, and we're talking about the O-line week in and week out as like something to look forward to moving forward. But this is different. I think this was amazing for the team. I really do. I didn't see where this team was going to go with where we're at, and I'm very happy. I am.
Well, I know you were, Frankie, especially when the Sauce Gardner deal Blockbuster came through. Let's real quick, guys, revisit exactly what the deals were here. I'm going to pull up this full screen here to summarize what the Jets trading details were today. So obviously, Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams, 2 All-Pro players going out from the Jets today before the trade deadline. And in return, the Jets get back from the Sauce Gardner deal 2 first-round picks from the Indianapolis Colts and wide receiver Adonai Mitchell. The first-round picks are 2026 and 2027 first-round picks. And then for the Quinnen Williams deal, they get back a 2026 second-round pick, and they get back the better between the Cowboys and Green Bay Packers first-round pick in 2027 and defensive tackle Mozzie Smith. So when you look at the return here, I'll start with you, Kaz. What was your thoughts on what the Jets were able to do today in getting all of these picks and players back?
Yeah, I mean, look, they got a haul. I mean, especially the Sauce trade 2 first-round picks for a non-quarterback is always remarkable. We obviously saw this with Jamal Adams a few years ago. So that's Parsons with the Cowboys this summer. So that's a huge haul for Sauce Gardner. And I thought with Quinnen, I didn't think they'd get a first-round pick for Quinnen. So kudos to them. They got, it's 2027, but they got that one. So, I thought they got a haul. That's for sure. You can't really argue with what they got back. I think my only pushback on Frankie would be, you guys have been down this road before, right? Like the Jets have done. It hasn't been that long since 2022 when the Jets had 2 first-round picks, and then they traded up. They took a third first-round pick, and here we are. They're trading away Sauce, who is one of those picks. So it just feels like rinse and repeat a little bit. And they did this with Darrelle Revis 13 years ago, trading him away and getting the first-round picks. So I get it. I just feel like you're now Jets fans. I feel like you're being asked to buy hope again.
Yeah, you're in full rebuild mode now.
You're in full rebuild mode, and I don't necessarily think you had to be there. I think they had a decent core. I would have built around Sauce. Quinnen's an interesting conversation because he's an older player. If he was truly unhappy, maybe I move that. But Sauce, I felt like was going to be part of this team for a long time, and now you're moving on from him.
Before Frankie, I ask you about the haul that the Jets got. I gotta ask you though, Kaz, the fact that they gave him a 4-year deal to Sauce Gardner for $120 million, I believe 13 and a half or something like that, or 18 million or whatever it was, that was a signing bonus for this year.
13, yeah.
13, right? So why give him that deal before the season starts? And then let 3 months play out here, including training camp and the first 8 games of the season. And now all of a sudden, hey, the Colts came calling and they're giving us a haul. Was it just that the price was too good that you couldn't pass up? Or was this more Aaron Glenn and Steve Wilkes who are saying, you know what? Sauce doesn't fit our defensive scheme here and what we truly want to do. He's a more leaner corner. He's had a little bit of a down year, doesn't turn the ball over now for 2 years in a row. Like, what is the factors here that make that decision happen where they give him a 4-year deal and now they're trading him?
Yeah. I mean, look, I think now in hindsight, looking at the deal, it was a tradable deal. Like, because they're really, the cap hit is not bad because of what you said. It was a $13 million signing bonus, which that's prorated over the course of the deal. The other money was really option bonuses that now the Colts will be responsible for. So I think the Jets probably made the decision to sign him thinking he was going to be here, be part of the future, but they structured the contract in a way where, okay, if we do have to trade him, this isn't going to kill us. And you're increasing his trade value by signing him to a contract, right? I saw somebody on Twitter before was like saying like, well, how could the Jets get more for Sauce than for Quinnen? Quinnen's a better player or more accomplished player, but like Quinnen's contract is going to be a little complicated for Dallas. Like they're probably going to have to do something to Quinnen's contract and rework it. I think he has very little guaranteed money after this year. The Colts have to do, they get him, contract. So he's signed, he's under control of the team. So they got a big haul for him. But like I said before, I really think what changed Ryan is 1-7. I'm not sure if Wilkes and Glenn looked at it and said, oh, this guy can't play for us. I highly doubt that. I do think Sauce is a good player. I think it was more he's not untouchable. He's not an untouchable player. And when they got the offer that they did today, they were like, well, okay, like if we're getting all that for him, he's not that good. let's trade. Let's move him for that. So that would be my read on it very early on here.
Frankie, your thoughts on what Kaz is saying, that this was a tradable contract for the Jets?
Yeah, I mean, we said it when that contract first came out, especially those cap hits the first couple of years there. That was very team friendly in a lot of ways. It would balloon later on, and then you had that out after year 3. Made that it was a very well done contract in a lot of ways. It's very rare though, right? Like for a player to get a deal like that and then you move on within 3 months, like you're saying, Ryan. I mean, you really never see that. I can't remember the last time.
Right?
Yeah, I think so. Yep. Good call.
I don't remember the time frame on Odell, but obviously we didn't sign him to trade him was the famous Dave Gettleman quote.
Yes, exactly.
Which
Yep,
is what made
totally.
this so weird, Kaz, about the
Yeah.
timing of this. The fact that, this new regime came in and we'd always asked you, like, Kaz, what's the deal with Muji and Glenn? Like, are they going to go into this year about evaluating the roster and figuring out if some of these younger pieces like Garrett and Sauce are worth building around, or could they potentially trade them, this year or even next year? And you're even like, I think they're going to evaluate and they're going to see what they got, but again, just it's mixed messaging in my opinion that you send to the locker room where it's like, hey, you signed this guy to a monster deal, the biggest contract
Yeah.
in NFL history for a corner, and then you go right around 3 months later and like, yeah, we're shipping you off for a monster haul. So I just don't know what kind of message this is from Muji and Glenn.
Yeah, I mean, look, the message is it's a business, right? And anyone in the locker room doesn't realizes that now. Um, I think the bigger issue with the locker room is you've got 9 games to play, and you just
Mm.
traded your 2 best defensive players for sure, and maybe your 2 best players on 2 of your 3 best players. Is that? I don't think anyone would argue with that, right? Throw
Yeah, no.
Garrett in there,
Yeah.
but
Yep.
they're 2 of the 3 best players on the team, and you traded them. So how do you look at? I'm interested what Aaron Glenn has to say tomorrow, um, about that and what he says to the team going forward, because you can say this move is great for the Jets, big picture wise. This isn't good for the 2025 Jets, right? Which I know a lot of fans, if they're 1-7, who cares? But if you're a player in that locker room and you're being asked to go out and put your health on the line on Sunday against the Cleveland Browns, I think you're kind of looking at this going, wait a second, what? Like, and those are 2 extremely popular players in the locker room. Quinnen was the unquestioned leader of this defense, highly respected by everybody in the locker room. Sauce, well, I'm not sure he wasn't the leader Quinnen was, but Sauce was well liked by everybody. Sauce, hard not to like Sauce. So I think this is going to hit the locker room hard.
Well, what's interesting is while it will have its effects on the locker room, cause it also questions what is this team going to be in 2026 as well.
I
Um,
know. That's what I'm saying. They're selling you hope again,
they're
Ryan.
selling you hope again, right?
It's
So that
hope.
and this guarantees no matter what, right? Like we already knew since Woody's comments that Glenn wasn't going anywhere, but they're going to get at least another 2 years, I would imagine, because they're going to be picking a quarterback either this year or the following year, depending if the class is not great. Like, is there a possibility we're looking at 2026 as a total tank job for the Jets? Think about it, Kaz, because the 2027 class is already being praised as this all-time great class.
I know.
I know the eye
How many times
roll.
have we heard this crap? Like,
I know.
it's
That's way
always
too
2 years.
early.
It's always 2 years. Like, you don't know. Does it guarantee them? I don't think it guarantees them 2 years, Rye. I think it they're guaranteed next year. We've already talked about that. Money wise, he wasn't going anywhere. So I think, tank job. I don't know. I think it'd be hard to do that, but I'm not sure. I think we're going to have to take a look at it once we get through this season and see how the chips fall. Do they have the number 1 pick this year? Right. I think that's a big piece of this is where they finish this year. Do they end up with the number 1 pick? Do they end up with the number 3 pick? Do they fall down to like the 7 pick? Like that. I think that's a big play. And then what you think of the quarterback class in 2026, which is pretty much up in the air right now. I think that'll answer those questions going forward.
Kaz and Ryan, I just want to propose something to you guys. I think this team needed to do something very drastic to put themselves in a position to make moves come draft day this year or next year to just maybe find a quarterback or a player that they feel like is able to change the scope of that offense, or maybe even on defense if they're looking at edge or someone impactful there. You're never going to replace Sauce Gardner or Quinnen Williams necessarily, but I don't think it's about making a lateral move at both those positions. The Jets have struggled stopping the run for the last couple years with Quinnen as the anchor to that defensive line. I'm not blaming him for it, but I'm just saying he's not responsible for making us or turning us into a great rush defense. He's just not. He's not getting sacks now. Sauce, we said, hasn't picked off a ball in 3 years, or 1 interception his last 3 years. 0 fumble recoveries he's had since he's been a Jet. Now, I'm not expecting a corner to recover fumbles, but we said it. The Jets haven't had an interception all year. I just like the fact that Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn said, you know what? We have to flip this thing upside down. And it started in the offseason when they told Aaron Rodgers, take a hike. I mean, Now they have to win or put something together that gives us some hope. But I like that this is so crazy because I think something needed to happen like this, guys, because the losing just never stops here. I don't want to sound like Joe Beningo, but like it doesn't. It's like I almost wanted something like this to happen. Like this gives me like I guess hope again, but it's real hope, I think, right? Because
But
draft
no,
picks,
because
first
Frankie,
round picks are
this doesn't guarantee the losing ends, right?
Yeah, I
Like
was gonna
they
say,
still got to
no way.
they got to turn these picks into something. Which, like, it's a new regime, but like we've seen this so many freaking times with the
So many
Jets.
times,
Like
Kaz. So many times.
Idzik has 12 picks. Oh, okay, he's got 12 picks. Here we
made
go.
to
He can flip the
12.
roster.
Joe Douglas trading Jamal Adams and
Joe
Sam
Douglas
Darnold
traded
and all
Jamal
these
Adams. He
guys.
traded Leonard Williams. He
That
traded
turned
Sam
into a good
Darnold.
trade, though. Jamal
Jamal Adams did, right. So like
Did it flip? Did it turn into winning?
No, we didn't. No,
It
not
didn't.
really. I
If
know.
it's like
Yeah.
this could be a good trade, but like you're talking about like the winning, like so. This is all about a quarterback. That's all.
Yeah,
I think that's the
totally.
only thing that matters, right? I think we can all agree on that. They've got to get a quarterback. The question, I guess, Frankie, where I might disagree with you is, did they need to do this to get a quarterback? We might see that they did. Like it might play out that way. I think they're giving themselves some flexibility now. Or could they have played it out? Like, the Patriots seem to have found their quarterback. They didn't do anything drastic to land him. The Broncos maybe have gotten their quarterback. They didn't do anything drastic. The Giants may have gotten their quarterback. Like, you don't necessarily have to have all these picks to get the quarterback. It will help if they feel the need to move around. And I think the other piece of it is not just drafting the quarterback, but surrounding him with pieces where he can be successful. I know there's been a lot of conversation since Sunday night about Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold couldn't succeed here, and it's not because of Adam Gase. It's because the receivers in 2020 were Brashad Perriman and Jamison Crowder, and I don't know who else. And the running backs were Frank Gore and an old Le'Veon Bell. Like, so the offensive line was terrible. Like they did not put Sam Darnold in a position to win. Yeah, well, and Quincy was gone by the time 2020 was there.
2020,
right.
Yeah,
he got hurt. He got hurt at the beginning of 2019 and retired. But yeah, they just didn't. So can they, with these draft picks, maybe get another receiver to go with Garrett? Can they add a running back if Reese isn't going to be long term here? Can they solidify other positions that will help whoever the quarterback is? And maybe that's the case. So, Frankie, I think these picks could turn into something great. But I don't think today you can sit here and go, oh, like it's going to happen, because we've seen it so many times where it hasn't happened.
Right. Kaz, would you have pulled the trigger on these deals? Would you guys have pulled like both of these deals in like a vacuum if you had them on the table? Would you have pulled the trigger? Just out of curiosity.
It's a great question. Quinnen, yes. I'm not sure about Sauce.
So
I really like Sauce. I know you don't, Frankie, like as a player. I like him as a player. So I would have had a tough time. I get it. But to me, like, these draft picks are just such wild cards. Like, I feel like we overvalue them so much because we go, oh, they, 2 first-round picks. And it's like, okay, they got Elijah Vera Tucker for Jamal Adams.
Correct.
I love AVT, great guy. He's a good player. He hasn't been able to stay healthy. It hasn't worked, right?
Yep.
So they're lottery tickets. They are.
The Garrett Wilson pick did work out from the Jamal Adams trade, though.
Garrett Wilson pick did work out.
Yeah,
it did.
But like everything we're talking about here, though, the current roster was not winning. And I think that's something that you had started this whole entire live show about, Kaz, is that this was about the Jets being 1-7 and that it really wasn't a winning roster. And that it seems like, from all intents and purposes, and what they're trying to, whether they're saying it out loud or not, they're basically trying to tell us that we overvalued some of these pieces on this roster.
Yeah.
And that starts with Sauce and potentially Quinnen as well. I think we all have high respect for these guys because we've seen them play at a high level before, right? But now it's a matter of this year was not turning out well, and maybe it was starting to sour and turn with a guy like Quinnen, and Sauce was just not being up to all pro level that he was his first 2 years. And again, the lack of turnovers, I cannot highlight enough. A guy who he's at the tops of almost every PFF chart in terms of limiting yards of separation and that target share. But at the end of the day, he wasn't getting turnovers, which you need from an elite cornerback at the end of the day. I do want to say, though, Kaz, and this is something that when Frankie had asked you if this trade was, if you would do this, this Sauce Gardner trade does join the recent likes of non-quarterback trade compensation, where you get 2 first-round picks, which joins Micah Parsons, Laramie Tunsil, Khalil Mack, and of course the famous Jamal Adams trade of recent. So that's a pretty good return. And in fact, it's a great return when you look at it.
Yeah.
And there's no guarantee. Let's talk about the Indianapolis Colts part here. There's no guarantee that the Colts are going to be a great team next year. Daniel Jones is only 8 games or 9 games into this, and he just had a rough week this past week against Steelers, and it's only a 1-year deal, Cause that the Colts have Daniel Jones.
And I think from the Indianapolis side of this, them trading 2 first-round picks tells you they're not drafting a quarterback. Like they're all in on Daniel Jones. So no, and like look, the whole value thing. Like remember the Jamal Adams thing, right? When they traded, I remember Peter King, who I have all the respect for in the world, kept writing like, "Well, the Seahawks know that they're going to be picking in the 20s." Guess what? They weren't. Then they kind of fell apart, and the pick was number 10 for Garrett Wilson. So you never know what's going to happen with these picks. Like you don't know if the Colts, like obviously this year they're 7-2. It looks like you kind of know what's going to happen this year, but next year you have no idea. That could be a great pick.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Kaz. And the other part about this with Sauce, I guess, is, do you think you could ultimately build, like, I heard you say it before, but do you really think you could have built a winner around Sauce Gardner on this roster?
Around is a hard word, Ryan. Like, I think you could have built a winning roster with him, though. I think he's a winning player. I think he'd be, I know they lost with him. I just think he's a good football player. And I think, like, I get your turnover argument, and that's totally fair. You're right. He has not had enough interceptions. But I've seen, like, I feel like the statistics, you can play games with Sauce. I've seen it both ways. I've seen the Sauce defenders throw out a bunch of stats that, say he's great and all this. And then the Sauce detractors have stats. Just watching him, right? Just watching him. I think he's a good football player. I think he's a good person. So like in the locker room, I think that's important. So I do think he could have been part of, winning here. So that part of it is, I think they're a weaker football team now than they were 5 hours ago when they had Sauce Gardner on the team.
No doubt. So let's touch on the Quinnen Williams part of this. And there was a story that came out. I don't know if it's true, Kaz, and I just want to get your aspect on this with Quinnen Williams' situation. And this is something we talked about last week when we said, hey, could they be potentially trading Quinnen Williams just because his contract is coming up? He's having a somewhat down year, and he's been around here so long, part of all the losing, and it's the longest tenured Jet, a guy who was a captain on this team. Was there frustration building up here where Quinnen Williams maybe was signaling, like, I don't know if I'm meant here long term to be with the Jets still?
Yeah, I think it was clear he was unhappy. I don't know. Like I said before, I don't know if he actually asked for a trade. I think Connor Hughes from SNY has reported he did ask for a trade a few times. I do not know that for sure. But I think everyone around the Jets knew he wasn't happy, and it was pretty clear. He's been miserable for months. I feel like, and just seeing him, the way he interacted with us, he's been tough. There was a time there where he didn't speak to us for a little while, and I asked someone, and they said he's in a really bad place right now. Like he probably shouldn't be talking to the media. So I think it's been tough for him, and fair. 7 years of this. Like I said to you guys, I think last week when we were talking, like there's a lot of guys on this team who have not experienced much losing here. Quinnen's been through half of it with you guys. He's through half the drought. So, and he's seen, think about what Quinnen walked into. He gets drafted, and 3 weeks later, the guy who drafted him got fired. And he lived that. He lived, and he lived through 2-14, and then he sees. He gets a new coach and new GM, a new defensive coordinator. He goes through that. Like there's the hope of. I was just writing for the newsletter. I was writing about the best wins of the last 10 years, and one of them was the Packers game, which Quinnen dominated that day.
Best game he's
had.
had.
It feels like, okay, they're on their way. Then they fall apart at the end of that season. Then they bring in Aaron Rodgers. That doesn't work. And remember, Quinnen tweeted after Rodgers got traded, like, I guess I'm going to be another part of another rebuild. Like, it was clear he was not happy that they got rid of Aaron Rodgers. So I just think the guy's been through a lot, and if he wants to go somewhere else, like, good on the Jets if they respected that, because he's earned that. He's been a good soldier, and he's lived through a lot of losing.
I do wonder, Kaz, this is something with the Quinnen Williams thing too. What did you make of the fact that the Jets were able to negotiate with the Cowboys for the better of the 2027 first round pick between the Cowboys and Packers because they have that pick from the Parsons
Yeah.
trade? What'd you make of that?
Well, I got a feeling the Jets were probably angling for a 2026 first round pick, and the Cowboys said no, but we'll give you 2027. And they probably said, okay, well, but we want the better of the two, right? Like something like that. I think it was probably a negotiating chip that they probably gave something else. They gave something up. Maybe they gave up the 2026 part of it, but they got the better pick in 2027. I mean, again, like we said before, who knows how good the Packers and the Cowboys are going to be in 2026. We're halfway through the 2025 season. So who knows what that pick will look like.
Right. And also, let's not forget that the Jets don't have a third round pick still, even after this day today. But now they have multiple first round picks and multiple second round picks. They're primed. They're primed to rebuild this roster fast in a 2-year span. But it's now a matter of, like you said before, we now have to be patient as fans to watch what the heck this is going to be. Even the rest of this season, there's still a ton of games to play left this year. Like, who's going to care about this as a fan? Is really the
Now, you
message.
guys, I'm curious. What's your feeling about the rest of the 2025 season?
I'll let Frankie answer that one.
You know, I can't wait to see what Tanner Engstrand does on Sunday. I'll tell you that. That's what. No, but to be honest, thinking about this season, I just want to see the offensive line continue to get better week in and week out. Like, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do against Myles Garrett. I'm really looking forward to seeing how those two tackles square up against Myles, coming off 5.5 sacks. How do they look? Because I think the difference between where we're at now, where we were at, 3 or 4 years ago, is we have an offensive line in place. And I think we have the play caller in place too, that I think you can manage to bring in a quarterback and put him in some favorable positions just because you're going to give him more time than you would, most rookies that are coming into, offenses that are not able to put him in a position to succeed. Like, I think we can get a quarterback, guys, to come in here and succeed. You have the O-line that looks pretty good. You have the play caller.
Tackles.
Can I say something, Kaz,
Yeah,
to
but
retort
You have the
this?
tackles.
Can I say
Yeah, the
something,
other-
Kaz, to retort this with Frankie? Frankie, you're saying like, hey, we think we have the offensive line. We thought we had the same thing with the defense, man. We thought we had the defensive tackle and the star corner and the pieces to build this thing. That's what Kaz is basically trying to highlight here. And I think we as fans always get blinded and overrate these guys. And it's something that we have to be honest with ourselves and like, maybe some of these pieces aren't as good as we think they are. Obviously, it's going to be onto this front office and this coaching staff to get the most out of the talent that is on this roster. But I just wonder, like, even this year, Frankie, like, does it even matter what these guys do? Because next year is going to be a giant question mark. And I don't know what's going to be with the quarterback position, what the rest of the wide receiver group is going to look like. It's scary that they're legitimately telling everyone right now, we are full rebuild mode and we are just legitimately going to tear this thing down from the bottom and rebuild it back up our way. And I wonder, Kaz, this is something I did want to bring to both you guys actually too. Does this remind you at all of the way Bill Parcells went about the Jets in 2000 when he drafted Sean Ellis, John Abraham, Chad Pennington, Anthony Beck, Lavernius Coles? Like, is this Aaron Glenn trying to pull a Bill Parcells here?
I don't think that. I mean, that was kind of a unique situation because one of the picks was for Belichick, right? And look, they were 2 years removed from the AFC Championship game at that point, and 1 year removed from Vinny tearing his Achilles, where they thought they were going to be good. So that was more. I don't think they were rebuilding for that then. It ended up they restocked, basically for the next. They got probably 8 years out of that group. Sean Ellis, John Abraham, Chad Pennington, Anthony Becht. So I don't think that Ryan, but yeah, that's another instance where they had a lot of first round picks.
I'll say it's a very bold move by Aaron Glenn to do what he's doing. He's basically saying, I'm not interested in winning at all this year. I'm not even trying to really prove to anyone that we're going to be able to win, giving up your two best defensive players. And he's telling everyone, I need another year. I need another 2 years. And you're going to see me cook, I guess, in the offseason. They have a ton of cap space, too, coming into the offseason. It's a rebuild, and it's a little unexpected because of the caliber of players that we traded to make this into an official rebuild. We could label it at this point a rebuild. But I think just taking a step back, I do think the core of this team, the core four they call them, Garrett, Brees on offense, Quinnen and Sauce on defense. There was something. There was a stench about that core four. It wasn't working.
Who called them the core four?
Who called him the core four?
People tweet the core four all the
Oh,
time.
come on. There's only one core four. It ain't them.
Thank you, Kaz.
That's true. Okay, sorry. I'm just taking words, that people say online. Sorry, everyone.
The core,
But
yeah. I mean, look, they lost.
you
the
know what I
tight
mean,
games.
though. Yeah, like something needed to change, right? Like,
I mean, there's the old quote: "We lost with you, we can lose without you." So yeah, I get that. Like, I think that was Ralph Kiner. I think but
Yes, it was.
yeah, but that that part is fair. Like this, they didn't win a lot of games. Now it's all about the quarterback. Right? All about the quarterback.
You're like, you guys are going to get a quarterback, and he's also not going to win a lot of games.
Those four guys did not get to play with really great quarterback play. So, I'm curious though with your the rebuild and Aaron Glenn, he isn't going to say that, Frankie. Like he is not going to say that.
He's not going to say it, is he?
But he's going to stand up there tomorrow in front of us, and we're going to ask him, "Is this a rebuild?" And he's going to go, "What kind of question is that? A rebuild? Like we're trying to win games. Like this has nothing to do with rebuilding. We're going to win games. Like I guarantee he's going to go down that road." So yeah, like he's. It's funny because in the offseason it was this roster's good and we're here to win games. And then he started kind of when they started losing games, you started hearing a little bit here and there, like maybe they weren't as good as he was pumping them up to be.
Not instant coffee, right, Kaz?
Was that? Yeah, not instant coffee. Yeah. It takes a long time to turn the ship around.
The ship.
Yeah,
that's right.
We didn't hear that in February at the scouting combine.
We did not.
We're going to win right away. We're going to win right away.
I'm going to build a team that everyone's going to be proud of here.
Just help me remember, guys. Did the 2021 Lions trade away all their players? Because we'll reference that too. And now the Lions, yeah.
I was trying to figure that out too, right? I was trying to see is there any similarities here between the Lions and the Jets?
Here's the similarity to me, Ryan, because I'm just joking. They didn't trade that. Obviously, the big trade they made was for Jared Goff, but before that first season. The similarity to me is, and I think we talked about this last week or recently, that Lions team was built through the draft.
Yeah.
They built the team through the draft completely. Yep. The free agent signings they made are kind of complementary players, David Montgomery, a few other guys, but the core of that Lions team, the best players on the team are guys they drafted. So I have a feeling Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji know, hey, we might have $65 million in cap space or whatever it is going to be, but we're not fixing this in March with free agents. We're fixing this in April with draft picks. So that's why, loading up on draft picks is smart. It's, and I think somebody tweeted they got to hit all these draft picks. No, they don't. They got to hit a few of these draft picks.
Totally.
Out of the park and they'll be fine. No one's gonna if it's what is it? It's I'm losing count now. 5 first-round picks, right?
5 first-round picks.
Let's say they get a quarterback who's a guy. They get a quarterback who's a guy, and they get another all-pro player, and a guy who's a starter. You'll be happy.
Yeah, they get a stud wide receiver or
you'll be happy.
Gibbs player. Yeah.
Yep. So it's I think that's what we see here where the Lions comparison comes into mind to me is just the way the Lions built through the draft.
Let me ask you guys a quick question, guys. Do you think this is a message to the fans and to us all saying we're going to take away from the defense, we're going to rebuild the offense? Because that's what this kind of looks like, right? Like we've had offensive issues now for the last 10 years. We have not been able to sustainably week in and week out score points. Now, I think the defense is going to be something we have to address eventually because that defense doesn't look good throughout this season with Sauce and Quinnen. Imagine without them. But I think that's something that I'm in the camp that I think it's easier to rebuild a defense in today's NFL than it is an offense. Offensive linemen are at a higher premium. Obviously, quarterbacks are at the highest of high premium. You don't see many defensive tackles going top 10 anymore. That's not to say it's not something you have to address, but I think the Jets are saying we need to fix this damn offense, and we're going to flip our defense upside down to a degree, right?
May I answer that quickly, Kaz, for you?
Go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
Frankie, it's all about the quarterback, man. That's what's been the mess the last 10 years.
Quarterback plays offense.
And that again, it goes back. I got to go back to what Kaz said. Everyone was talking about the Sam Darnold thing this past week because of how great he looked. It's there has to be a plan here at quarterback that they're going to find their guy, develop him, have patience with him, and
Yeah.
build around him. Like, you can have as many pieces as the Jets had this past year with Brees and Garrett, and previous years with Devontae, Allen Lazard. Throw any tight ends you want out there, Mason Taylor, as many tackles as you want, offensive line. It all comes down to the quarterback. I saw Washington Commanders take Jaden Daniels, take that team to the NFC Championship game. They really had no business being in the NFC Championship game last year. But I think Kaz would agree, and you would probably agree, if you find that quarterback, it can really change the entire outlook of your franchise here.
Yeah, and I think Frankie too. The other part is they're tearing the defense because that's where they had assets, right? Like
True. Yeah.
that's where they had guys that were tradable. I mean, when we talked about guys on offense to be traded, Garrett's the only guy on that level, and they weren't trading Garrett. So, I think that's kind of why you see that they're going to have to rebuild the defense though too. But I do think you can probably do that faster. I'm trying to remember. Joe Douglas had a saying. I'm trying to remember. Just texted somebody to ask them. He had a saying about the offense and defense.
A little interesting note about A.D. Mitchell, guys. A.D. Mitchell had a game with the Colts this year. They were 3-0. They were going to be 4-0, and he dropped the ball
Right at the
before
Rams,
goal
right?
line. Yeah, at the Rams. They had lost that game 27-20. They would have won that game basically if he had just ran into the end zone and not dropped it, which seems to be a weird thing going on in the NFL this year. But
Malachi Corley.
yeah, he had 96 yards in that game, guys. And the next 3 or 4 games, he was only targeted one time. So I think that coaching staff had enough of him, former second-round pick, someone suitable. I'm not championing here for A.D. Mitchell, but
No, look, the
quality
talent's
talent.
undeniable. Yeah, the talent's undeniable with a guy like A.D. Mitchell. Second round pick last year.
Yeah.
It just hasn't worked out. Probably has character issues, which again, you have to wonder if your coaching staff can get a hold of him and make something out of nothing with him, but their talent is undeniable there with AD Mitchell. I do want to touch on not one thing. There's a couple things here, Kaz, we haven't talked about is the guys that weren't traded at the deadline, the ones that were really rumored before the deadline, and Brees Hall and a guy like Jermaine Johnson. I'll start with Brees Hall, a guy who just tweeted about 30 minutes ago. I think he's deleted it now, but it says, "Sick about my brothers, man," with a sad emoji. Happy for them, but man, I am sick right now. And obviously, we saw Jordan Schultz report before the deadline an hour saying Brees has told me his camp that he wants out. He wants to be traded. So were you surprised, Kaz, that the Jets ultimately did not trade a guy in Brees Hall who, let's be real, it's his last year of his deal. He doesn't have a contract after this season, and running backs really aren't valued that much in the NFL right now.
No, because of what you said at the end there, because I don't think they could get value for him. So you're talking about a guy who plays a position that's not a high value position, a guy who has an expiring contract. If you're the Kansas City Chiefs or a team, what are you giving up for Brees Hall? Fifth? You'd probably give a fifth, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
It sounded
right?
like
Like,
they were wanted the third, right?
I
The
mean,
Jets
the
were
Jets probably wanted a third. They do have to play
Yeah.
9 games, even though they're going to play it, with their defense hurt. But like trading Brees to me with Braylon Allen hurt, that was going to be like a really big blow to your offense. Like I like Isaiah Davis. I think he's a really nice number 2 running back, though. I don't think he needs to be the number 1. And if he's the number 1, who's the number 2? So to me, the Brees trade thing became less and less likely in the recent days. Now I know what Jordan Schultz reported. I don't know if that's true. I was told by somebody else. Now he wants to be here, but like, I don't know. We'll see. Brees is a tough guy to read. He likes to troll, on Twitter, and he, I'm sure we'll talk to him tomorrow or this week at some point. We'll see what he says.
Frankie, your thoughts on the fact that the Jets didn't get to move off of Brees Hall, and we'll hit on Jermaine after this, but Brees Hall didn't go.
Yeah, I think to what Kaz is saying is probably true. I mean, for sure, it makes sense. I mean, the Jets probably wanted a third. A team's willing to say, "Hey, we'll give you a fifth." I don't even know if they'd be willing to meet in the middle with like a fourth. I'm interested to see what happens in the offseason. Hopefully, Brees is able to stay healthy. I think they will look to extend him. I don't know if a tag works. I know we had spoken. I just got pitched you guys a transition tag. I don't know if they want to use that on a running back necessarily, but yeah. The other players I am more surprised in. Brees, I thought they knew what they had in him, and they know that they need him because you're not going to insert Isaiah Davis as your RB1 right now and obviously Braylon Allen's not here. He's hurt. So yeah, I'm with Kaz there. I think there was no meeting in the middle. A team's like, I'll give you a fifth. I have to extend this guy, and you guys might want a third, but we're not meeting at a fourth. So
Yeah, Quincy, I'm surprised about, right?
Yeah.
I was going to say that.
I just thought he's turning 30 next year. No contract. They paid Jamie and Sherwood. So like I thought Quincy might be. I thought he was the guy I was thinking was most likely to be traded. So he's still here. That surprises me.
Well, Kiko scares the Jets too behind him, putting him in there behind Quincy.
Maybe there was no deal for Quincy, like
Yeah.
anything available. Like maybe I was thinking it was going to be a 6th rounder for Quincy. He's on the last year of his deal. I mean, we're probably going to lose him in free agency, aren't we?
You know what might be the biggest? Well, you know what would be the biggest surprise of it all, Kaz, is why the hell is Allen Lazard still on this Jets roster?
I mean, I've been saying that since I don't know what March, but yeah, like look, no one was trading for Allen Lazard. I know that was I know that, and Ryan, I'm very happy for you because you know what you get to watch on Sunday.
As soon as the Quinnen Williams deal happened, I'm like, here I go. I'm signing
number 72 for the New York Jets. Number 1 in Ryan Sampson's heart. Number 72 in your program.
You know what? We
Michael
can pray.
Clemens.
All I can do now, Kaz, is pray that Michael Clemens will have a roughing the passer penalty that'll help the Jets lose the game and will help them get the number 1 pick. That's all I can hope for right now. The Jermaine Johnson one, though, is interesting. There's a lot of noise around that. Is that a guy that, potentially they could revisit in the offseason? I don't understand the hype around wanting to trade someone like that. Is that just not a fit scheme-wise for the Jets?
Who was hyping that they wanted to trade him?
That Connor Hughes reported it. I mean, Jordan Schultz threw that name out there.
They were talking. I mean, they were telling teams he was available.
Yeah,
I know that for a while. I think they were like, look, they were shopping any asset they had outside of Garrett Wilson, and he's a young player who you'd have control over next year, right? He's got the 5th-year option next season, so but they just didn't get what they were looking for. I think they were looking for a 2, is what I heard for him. I think so. You weren't going to get that, I guess. But I think they were shopping any asset they had, right? And I got the quote. This was the old Joe Douglas used to say, you have to bake an offense, you can microwave a defense. And just meaning like offense takes time to develop, but defense, you can kind of plug players in and they can play immediately, but offense takes a little longer to develop.
And we have a great head baker in our offensive coordinator. So
there you go. Joe's cake never really rose on offense.
It's funny you guys say
the Tanner Engstrand, like, dude, the guy, it's 8 games, Frankie. Like,
Frankie loves him.
They're 1-7.
I'm a big fan, guys. I'm speculating. I'm like, I'm foreshadowing. I'm taking a big risk here with the guy. I'm jumping 2 feet in, and maybe
it's that 4th and 1 Kaz that really sold him against the Bengals. The callback to the Lions 4th and 1 play against the Jets.
You love that one, huh?
Yeah. I like the creativity, guys.
Frankie, they didn't score an offensive touchdown for 2 straight games. I don't understand how you have so much.
Yeah, I didn't bring him up then, right?
The first half, they scored 1 touchdown in 6 weeks.
All right, well, let's put this in perspective. With Justin Fields and no Garrett Wilson, I know they played one of the worst defenses we've seen in a long time, but they had over 500 yards without Garrett Wilson and Justin Fields running the show. Justin Fields never wins games.
Did you watch the Bears-Bengals game Sunday?
Yeah, I did. I watched a lot of it. That was a great
Frankie,
game.
They're jumping ship on the offensive side of the ball against the defense over there. It's bad.
No, I know. It's the worst I've seen, maybe.
Yeah. That Loveland touchdown was unbelievable.
Yeah. I've never seen a 2 DBs or linebackers just throwing
running and throw your shoulder at him.
But that goes again to the point I guess I'm trying to make too, guys, is how much confidence do we really have in this regime? Like, look, picks are all great in cause, but it's about what picks you make with them.
Yeah.
Am I wrong to say, like, look, it hasn't started great with Aaron Glenn. 1-7 is 1-7, and that's on his ledger. And who knows how this season ends? But it has not been pretty in terms of the penalties, the game management, the way this offense has really looked, his belief in Justin Fields, the way he's tried to describe to you guys what his thoughts were about this team going into the season, where he said, I'm going to build a team that Jets fans should be proud of. We're going to be competitive. And everything he said has basically not come to fruition. And now I'm supposed to be fully bought in that this guy is going to lead the rebuild here.
Look, there's no reason to have full blown faith, but you don't have a choice. Like, I also don't think we can judge off of this period of time and say, oh, they're going to blow it either. I don't think we know. I think you just they got to give them a chance here. This is their shot. Like, and I do think with Glenn, it's gotten better in areas. The penalties are down. Like the penalties, I think the Jets tweeted something earlier, right? The week 6 through 9, which that's fine. Like I know that was a funny period of time to pick, but it has gotten better.
One of them a bye week.
It has gotten better with the penalties. It has gotten better. They've decreased penalties. His game management, I thought, was pretty good in Cincinnati. Going for the twos, I liked late in the game. I thought he managed that game pretty well. So, look, I think that's what I asked you guys if you care about the rest of the season. That's what I'm looking at is, are they going to look better in December than they looked in September? And that includes Aaron Glenn and other aspects of the team.
Kaz, I have a question for you. Do you think that with these deals that happened today, there is a vote of confidence from Woody or the ownership saying to Aaron Glenn and Muji, you guys are here, guys. Like this is your kind of show for at least another year and a half, 2 years, right?
100%. Yeah. I mean, Woody Johnson loves Garrett Wilson. So I know that for a fact. So that, Garrett wasn't touched, but I think Woody was a Sauce fan. And I think so. He's probably a Quinnen fan too. Like those guys were good players for him. So him allowing them to tear it down like this, I think shows his belief in them and shows that he's given them control. He's these are not Woody-like moves necessarily. Woody's usually about acquiring players. So I think he's showing belief in them. But remember, Joe Douglas had that belief once upon a time. And then you got to, at some point, you got to win games or Woody's going to not have that belief in you anymore.
Well, guys, like my guy Zoo Kruger writes out on Twitter, if you weren't with the Jets during the rebuild, don't be with us during the rebuild.
That's great. That should be a t-shirt.
It should be a t-shirt. It's just it's sad it's come to this, Cause. Look,
we are so back, boys. We're back.
But I can't believe we're back to this point now where we're going to be asking Kaz, who are the Jets drafting a quarterback? What do you see him doing with their second?
I think Aaron Glenn will tell us who they're drafting at quarterback.
Will he tell you who's starting at quarterback this week, Kaz? I want to get your takeaways on that. Dude,
here's my thing. I'm going to write
go
this.
Off. I
have to go right at some point, guys. But this, and I've been thinking about this in my head. All the focus has been right, like, oh, Aaron Glenn won't tell the media who the quarterback is, and why does the media ask him? And if today is really a success, and this comes back to the point I've been making all along, if today is really success, in 2027, if we are not asking Aaron Glenn who the starting quarterback is going to be anymore, this was a success. Like, if they can get to a point where we know who the quarterback is going to be, and we don't have to ask that question, like, how long did the Giants beat writers not have to ask that question when Eli Manning was there, right? Like, no quarterback questions at all. The day the beat doesn't have to ask any quarterback questions is success.
That's fair. That's fair. But I think you're looking at it very logically. I just think that for me, someone that is your colleague, and I think Frankie can sympathize with this too, there's a better way to go about how he's been answering the questions with you guys. And I get it. I get it. There is this element of you guys are over there just reporting on the team. I'm going to keep my things in-house, and I want that competitive advantage, whatever that is.
Can I give you the real beat writer perspective?
Yeah.
Here? It gives us something to write about. It's awesome. Like, I'd rather that than Dable. I watched the Brian Dable press conferences.
Are you crying?
He says nothing. He says nothing to those guys. So give me this. Or Todd Bowles back in the day said nothing. Like Glenn is interesting, and it gives us something to talk about. So I don't care if he doesn't like the questions. And, at this point, it's a game, I think, with him. So it's fine. I'm fine with it. I like people are like, oh, does it bother you? No, it gives us something to write about, gives us something to talk about. It's good.
Yeah. It gives you something
from a team perspective. Like, I might be telling him, like, do we really need to do this? Like, it's just creating another thing for us, like in the universe, but maybe they don't care. I don't know.
I thought it was funny. He didn't know it was Samini asking the question, or he thought it was Samini.
He thought it was
Rich?
Samini.
Is
Yeah,
that
he thought it
Rich?
was
Like, how did
Samini.
he know? How did he know that? Like, was he
that?
joking around? How did he know that it like wasn't Samini? Like, why do you
Well,
think
he thought it
was Samini?
was.
He thought it
Yeah.
was.
Okay.
But we were
Yeah.
on
I meant,
Zoom.
They were on Zoom.
oh, it was a
Yeah.
Zoom. Got
Yeah,
it.
it
All
was
right.
Zoom.
Sorry
It
about
wasn't in
that.
person.
Sorry.
No.
Sorry. I thought it was in person. I'm like,
He
is
thought
messing
Kaz
around?
may have already been traded, so that's why he was assuming it was Samini who was asking the question.
Jacoby Brissett staying as the quarterback of the Cardinals. There you go.
Yeah, I saw some rumors there that the Jets are going to be making a move for Kyler Murray. There's no way they're doing that, right? With all these picks.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. All right, cool. I just want to make sure we shut that down. Kaz, final thoughts from you before we wrap with you is, look, what kind of messaging can you give to Jets fans here watching and for us in the future? Like, look, man, this is going to be a long rebuild and you're going to be a part of it with us. And we're going to be pestering you with so many damn questions that you're going to be driven crazy as you already are by us. I can't believe that we're back here though, in this moment of let's rebuild it all again.
Yeah. I mean, this is the life you guys have chosen. That's what I would tell you, right? This, you guys picked this team whenever it was, for whatever reasons you picked it. And this is what you signed up for, is just this it's tough life, right? And so I do think you can look at it like Frankie and say they've given you more hope today than maybe you had yesterday for the future. And draft picks are fun, right? So that's going to be fun. Like, it's going to be fun for them to have 2 draft picks, and I don't expect them to win a ton of games the rest of the season. So their pick is certainly going to be a high pick. So we're going to be talking about quarterbacks, which is fun. So I think it's going to be a fun offseason. That would be what I would sell Jets fans right now. It'll be a fun offseason, and you guys can kind of have mock drafts galore going to be going on, and it's going to be all that.
Real quick,
you got to get there. You got to get through the next 9 weeks.
It's
like, can you keep the perspective? Like, you guys have, like, Frankie especially has perspective right now of, like, not worried about wins and losses. And I've seen this before in the Jets fan and in my close studies of the Jets fan. And then Sunday comes and they're sitting there and the game starts, and it doesn't matter if Luke Falk is at quarterback. It doesn't matter if Rashad Perriman is the starting wide receiver.
Rashad Perriman.
It doesn't matter if Bryce Hall and Brandon Eccles are your starting cornerbacks. You're like, what are they doing? Why can't they win this game? It's just Tom Brady. What are they doing? Solid, you stink. You stink. What are you doing? Stop Tom Brady. Can you keep the perspective that this is a teardown right now, rebuild? There's going to be some tough Sundays, and just maybe start the Christmas shopping early on Sundays, find something else to do. This year's going to be tough.
It will be tough, but Frankie and I still have to do these post-game live shows. I do want to ask you quickly, though. Tune in.
Yes, please.
But the key question is, do you think the Jets will have a brand new starting quarterback via the draft, no matter what, this offseason, or could we be tanking in 2026 for that top pick in 2027?
Yeah, I wouldn't rule that possibility out.
Oh, shit.
Ooh,
because I don't know enough about the draft, and I saw was it Matt Miller that put that tweet out? Like, 2027 draft is the greatest draft of all time. Like, again, like.
But it's also the rumors of, like, the Moores of the world that Dante Moore could go back to college.
Right.
Sellers could go back to college.
Here's what I go back to, though. 2017, right? The Jets tore it down. And I remember, and it was like, okay, they're going to tank. They're going to get Darnold or Rosen or Josh Allen. Those were the 3 guys at the time. There was no talk of Baker at that time, or Lamar even, right? And I remember before the 2017 draft asking people, like, is it smart for them not to take a quarterback this year? Just punt on this year's draft, go to 2018. And they were like, some people thought it was, some people it wasn't. They could have drafted Patrick Mahomes. So if there's a quarterback in this year's draft and you love them, take them, right? Don't do the 2027 draft is better than 2026. Just take them. If you like them, take them.
Well said. Well said, Kaz. We appreciate you coming on here for the Gangs All Here live show, giving me your reaction to the trade deadline and what was a insane day. I'm sure you've never seen anything like this before covering this Jets team, and we've never seen this before as Jets fans. But it's great to get your perspective. We'll be talking to you later this week to preview this Jets Browns games if anyone cares. But stick around. We're going to be making tons of content with Kaz all year long, and he's going to be here with us every step of the way. We appreciate you, Kaz.
All right, thanks, guys.
That is Brian Costello from the New York Post. I'm Ryan Sampson. That's Frankie Vittorini from U Stadium.
Heyo.
As we continue to grind along here for the Gangs All Here live show, getting reaction to this Jets trade deadline, and which was a blockbuster day. Frankie, let's continue the conversation here. After hearing Kaz out, I agree there needs to be perspective here. It feels like, and it's being lacked of. I see a lack of perspective here from a lot of fans. There's a lot of fans that have this negative approach on what the Jets did this weekend or today, I should say, and didn't like trading away one of the best players in Sauce Gardner, and really, which was such a shocker. What do you have to say to fans that find this more negative and that we're going rebuild again? We had pieces like Sauce. We had pieces like Quinnen and Garrett and Brees and the tackles you talked about. This shouldn't be such a heavy rebuild. What do you have to say to fans like that?
Ryan, it comes down to this, man. We were not winning with these guys. Flat out. We just weren't. Now, do I know the reasons why? I don't. I can point to some things. I can point to our inability to create turnovers, which your mainstay corner, your cornerstone corner that you made the highest paid corner in football doesn't contribute to. So I can make a parallel there, but it's not all his fault because of all the stuff that he does elsewhere. But there was just a stench with this core, and they needed to just break it up. And I thought it was the right move, man. And it's not like the compensation. If you were to tell me today, we traded Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams, what was the return? I would have never have guessed in a million years, Rye, it would be 3 first-round picks and a second-round pick, of which we get the better of that Chicago or Green Bay pick next year. We're the only team right now with 5 first-round picks over the next 3 years.
Yeah, it's crazy how much draft capital
It's
they've
like, what else
acquired
do
in
you
one day.
want?
I've never seen any team
No,
in
I
the
haven't.
NFL in my time. I mean, you could look at the Ricky Williams trade if you want,
Yeah.
or you could look at the because even the Ricky Williams, they traded all their picks. They didn't trade like
They traded a whole draft.
they traded a whole draft. I mean, you could look at the Herschel Walker trade, right? Like those are the all timers. But what the Jets did in terms of trading obviously they're 2 of their most 5 talented players on the roster. They got an insane haul to build for their future.
And Quinnen was going to want an extension, Ryan.
That's what
Like
it looks
Quinnen in
like.
a few years, he was going to ask for more money. So like,
Yeah, and
if he
Kaz
wasn't, yeah,
admitted, he said, "Look, he wasn't happy. He wasn't happy
yeah,
here."
he said it a few weeks ago. If you remember,
Yeah.
we asked him, we're like, "What's the vibe with Quinnen?" He's like, not really himself, but I don't know if that's necessarily because he wants out or because the team's not winning games. But Ryan, I'm sick of losing, man.
We all are.
Like,
But it's going to
it's like,
continue. You know that, right?
I mean, yeah, but at the very least, we have the assets to maybe move up and get that quarterback or get a receiver we like. You allow yourself flexibility, man. We're like any other team when we don't have these picks because we're just in the same pot. We're the only team, again, with 5 first-round picks. Ryan, no other team even has 4. We have 5 first-round picks in the next 2 years. Now, they got to do something with it, but you can almost mess up 2 of those picks and still do something. I mean, you still have 3 in 2 years. So, yeah, am I being optimistic? I am. I was just getting sick of this core, man. I
Yeah.
couldn't. I really. I don't want
Sauce
to say
being
couldn't wait, but yeah, I wanted something to happen.
Sauce was that guy that you were always a fan of in favor of trading. You said, "Look, this guy,
Yeah, I
for
was.
you wasn't performing up to what his standards were." And I think that's true. Everyone can see it on the field. Yes, I agree with Kaz. He is a hell of a football player. Like he is a top 3, 4, 5 corner, you could say, in the NFL. But the lack of turnovers you can't debate that. He didn't turn the ball over. But at the end of the
Yeah.
day, he did force quarterbacks and offenses to go in opposite sides of the field a lot of times to throw the ball. He did shut down half of the field, it felt at times. But then there's those key moments, Frankie, where it felt like 3rd and short or 3rd and long, and Sauce was giving up these completions. You're like, that's not what you're paying a number one corner for, especially all that money they just gave him. So look, it is a big, big risk to trade a 24-year-old all pro corner, no doubt. But the fact that they got 2 first-round picks and Adonai Mitchell, who is no slouch, it's a hell of a return for Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn, and that's where they get credit for how they handled this shocker of a deal.
Yeah, man. And dude, you don't get 2 first-round picks usually for a corner. You get 2 first-round picks for Micah Parsons, for Khalil Mack, for a Bosa, Nick Bosa. You don't get that for a corner that hasn't recovered a fumble since he's been a Jet. Like, I'm just saying, like, it's not like this guy's this Deion Sanders type of player that he's gonna just turn your defense into a force overnight. Does he do some things incredibly well? He does. But for the PFF crowd out there, go on, because I know PFF does Sauce so many favors. Sauce is ranked as qualified too. I'm not taking unqualified. I'm taking qualified corners that have a minimum snap count, not guys that played a game or two. Sauce is the 25th ranked corner right now on PFF. Last year, he was outside the top 30. So even on PFF standard, which they love those separation stats and whatnot, Sauce isn't even keeping up with those stats anymore. He's not even at the top like he was his first 2 years. I question also with Sauce. I was going to ask Kaz, but he had to go or whatever. He had to write something, but I was going to
He's
ask
got to
him.
go write all this whole day, man.
Yeah, why wasn't Sauce captain? I mean, he wasn't voted a team captain. That's kind of weird to me. I know that's a stretch, and I get people saying, "Oh, you're always looking for something," but he wasn't a team captain. How are you not a team captain? You're the highest paid corner in football. You're someone that the fans, for the most part, love. Why is the team not voting you as a captain? What's going on? I always questioned his leadership here. I always thought that he was lacking in that department. And I think Aaron Glenn saw it. And they have a bunch of former players coaching that roster. Dre Bly, Aaron Curry. They got former guys in there that played in this league. I wonder if they're like, something's off with this guy. If you can get value, get value. I think it was a masterful move, in my opinion. I don't think we're going to regret that one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm willing to go attacking him as a character. Kaz did say he's beloved in the locker room, that the guys loved him in the locker room. He did say that to us in the beginning. So you do have to say, like, it's just they had to make the move when you get a deal like this. This is just one of those
right.
all-time deals where, like, if you're Aaron Glenn, Darren Muji, again, I question more if this was he wasn't a scheme fit here. I think Aaron Glenn clearly likes more physical
True.
corners. I know
Man
Kaz
corners.
Kaz brushed it off, which is fine. It's totally understandable, his opinion. But I think, in my personal opinion, Aaron Glenn wants a more physical corner like Ozzie Thomas, like Brandon Stevens, who are jam you at the line of scrimmage, play man-to-man coverage. That just wasn't Sauce's. That wasn't his strength. It wasn't being physical. And he's very long, lean. Those are great traits: long and lean and fast, and how he plays. And he's good in zone, very good in zone coverage, elite in zone coverage, you could even say. But Sauce also was bullied by a lot of receivers when it came to the physicality of the game. And he wasn't great in the run, also stopping the run and coming up making tackles. We often see him, he would take a hit and he'd have to come out for a couple plays because, hey, my shoulder's hurting, or, like a concussion, or, it comes with the frailty of being that lean athlete that Sauce was. The Quinnen Williams part, I do want to go back to. It was something I was so strong for in my defense of, like, why they should trade him last week, because there's a part of me where it's like, I don't know if Quinnen is ever going to get back to that elite level that he was before he got this extension. He's soon to be 28 years old, Frankie. He's going to be seeking a new long-term deal, like you had mentioned before. And he doesn't have the production. And the pass rush win rate numbers are the lowest of his career. So, like, there's signs there that potentially is Quinnen a player on his way descending, or you could be looking at a guy who is so disgruntled, if you believe in all the reports, that was so frustrated here with all the losing, Frankie, that he just basically was just trying to skate by until he got to the deadline where he can get traded.
I think that's definitely true. That last part you brought up, I think for sure. I think Quinnen's been wanting out of here for at least a month. I think so. I think you could see the change in his personality from 0-3, 0-4. You could just sense that something was up with him. We were discussing it on our show a bit, that he just doesn't seem like the same player. And I'll say this, as a fan, right? Let's take a step back. The Jets are not good at stopping the run. They've been better the last couple weeks, but we're not great at stopping the run. You saw what Chase Brown and Sam JP Ryan did against us. So Quinnen's responsibility, a lot of it is being a part of a defense that can stop the run. They haven't been really good at stopping the run for a few years now. So he's not changing the landscape of the defense in terms of stopping the run. I don't blame him. Our linebackers have issues filling gaps. Our DNs have been hurt in and out. Will McDonald's not good against the run. I get all the reasons why we're not good at stopping the run. It's not Quinnen. Quinnen, if anything, adds plus value there, but not such a plus value that he's going to himself be responsible for being the guy that anchors a top 10 rushing defense no matter what. And it's not like he's playing with guys that can't play. Sherwood can play. Jermaine's been hurt, but he could play. Clemens is a big body, whatever. The other side is he's not getting sacks anymore. He has 1 sack all year. And Ryan, we played a patchwork offensive line in Tampa that had undrafted free agent offensive linemen playing. He couldn't even get to the quarterback. So to me, there's just something where he needs a new place.
Yeah, it felt like an attitude thing, man. It felt like an attitude thing with Quinnen. It really did.
Yeah, becoming stale. And you got a first and a second round pick for him.
Yeah, and the next year one, like we said, 2027 is aiming to be an insane draft class with terms of talent potentially. And who knows what the Cowboys are going to be or the Packers in 2027. And the fact that you have 3 first-round picks in the 2027 class, I've never seen anything like it before with the Jets. Like they've never pulled this type of move in my lifetime, having 3 first-round picks, and 2 coming up this year. Like it's going to be a fast.
We've never had a rebuild like this. This is
know.
a rebuild so someone's like, nobody loves draft picks and rebuilds more than Jeff fans. This comment
I see this. Yep.
Yeah, that's true. We love rebuilds because that's all we look forward to. But this is a rebuild that we've never been a part of before, where we have 5 first-round picks in 2 years.
3 second-round picks in 2 years as well.
Yeah.
So you're talking about 5. You're talking about what? 8
on the
picks,
point chart, forget it.
Yeah, you're talking about 8 picks in the first 2 rounds for the next 2 years.
It's insane, Ryan.
That's 8. That's 8 high draft premium position players. Now, mind you, I don't think the Jets are ultimately going to draft.
No, they're not going to draft all those guys. It's too much money too on the books to draft all those guys. You don't want to tie up that many deals.
Kaz had hinted like, look, this is how the Lions did it, and this is how you want to do it if you do want to truly rebuild from the bottom up. But I would say 7 or 6 of those are guaranteed to be drafted by the Jets. You could potentially use those other picks to maybe make moves to trade up, or also get a premium position that at a that like, hey, an AJ Brown just became, loose for us after we drafted our rookie quarterback. And, that type of player comes available. They can make a move like that. But I'm not saying the Jets are going to do that. But at the end of the day, yeah, this is something that I've never seen the Jets go full rebuild mode this way, where there's no quarterback in place. There is a ton of draft capital here for the GM and the head coach to work with. And ultimately, I guess it's not the same as 2017 and 2018, Frankie. It just feels like they're going about it and, hey, we're loading up in the next 2 years. We're going to try to attack this roster as many young players as we can, but you're going to need to see immediate results after these 2 drafts. I'll tell you that much right now.
Yeah, this puts a lot of pressure on Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn's shoulders to make sure they hit on these picks, right? Or if they're going to move up for a player, you better move up for the right player. And even now, you brought up a good point last show. I know I don't always tell you bring up good points, but you brought up a very good point, Ryan. You know what you brought up? You go, things might go crazy at the deadline for us. You have a young GM. You have other young GMs. You have teams looking to maneuver. That's all they know. This isn't the old school NFL where nobody trades at the deadline. Today, there was more activity than we've ever seen. So, I mean, that's true. And I think that also bodes well for us. Maybe next year, there's a disgruntled quarterback that's available that we can trade 2 first-round picks because we have him for 1. I don't think so, but I'm saying, I don't know. But I'm just saying, you never know. And the fact that you have the flexibility now to make a crazy move to trade up, to trade for someone, you can waste one of those first round picks in a deal. And I
Yeah,
hate saying that because it's ridiculous to say, but
I
I'm saying you got flexibility, man.
they do. I just don't think they would do it unless it's a quarterback, like you said, though. I'm not doing this
Yeah,
for a
it'd
wide
have to be
receiver. I'm not
for
doing it
sure.
for,
No, no.
and that brings me to my next question, Frankie. Like, this quarterback class is questionable, to say the least. There's a ton of question marks about in terms of who's coming out, who's going back for another year. The Jets could end up with 2 first-round picks, and there's really no one out there at quarterback in this draft besides Fernando Mendoza, who, let's be honest, is not gonna light up the world and say, "Yeah, Fernando Mendoza is gonna be our guy for the next 10 years." You know, like, there's questions about him. You know that,
There is.
and I know that.
Yeah, what they have to figure out, the Jets, is first, it depends where you're drafting. And second, I think, and I've been saying this, Fernando Mendoza, I don't think is going to end the year being the clear cut number one overall pick. I think there's going to be a lot of movement between Ty Simpson, Dante Moore, and someone else that splashed back on the scene on Saturday was my favorite quarterback in college, joking, but Arch Manning played well. And I'll say this next 5 or 6 games for these guys, including the playoffs, there's going to be a lot more movement in terms of where we're viewing these quarterbacks. Don't think if Arch Manning, and he's probably going to go back, but you never know.
Yeah, I
If
don't
he
think he's
ends up
coming out.
I don't think so either. But if he ends up lighting it up and he has big playoff games, we have a lot of recency bias as fans and as media members like yourself. We have a lot of recency bias, and none of these guys at this point are so good that they can't, they can't go from being, a top 2 pick to being a bottom, first round pick over the next month or so. Like, no
Right.
one's clear cut that guy. So there's going to be a lot of movement, and we just have to wait and see. But I don't think the Jets have to draft a quarterback in the top 5 right now. I don't. Unless they really like someone, I don't think it's as pressing because you do have the picks in 2027 and you don't want to necessarily invest in a quarterback where you're handcuffed the next year to say,
That's what I
we
was
really
trying to
want
get
to.
to. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
what I
like
was
the
trying to get
Cam
to with
Ward
Cos.
situation with
Yeah.
Tennessee. Cam Ward, if Tennessee has the second pick
Don't
or the
force the
first
pick.
pick,
Don't
that's what I'm
force the pick.
saying.
Take the best
Yeah,
player available. That's kinda where you have to be at this rebuild. Don't
they
force the
can right
quarterback.
now.
Yeah, the fact that they have this many picks, they can
Yeah,
be in that mode for 2026 where they position themselves now where they can say, "We're gonna take the best player available." It might not
totally.
be a quarterback. It might be a defensive lineman again. Oh god, we just traded away Quinnen Williams to pick another defensive lineman. It's possible. You know, they could take a wide receiver. I don't think it's a strong wide receiver class, but again, we're not gonna know a lot of these things until we see who's coming out, who's going back. But look, 5 picks in the first round is 5 picks in the first round. So the Jets did a hell of a job in getting themselves positioned to have all these future assets. Uh, I I I I do want to ask you about, and this is something I've been thinking about, Frankie, too, is that with Aaron Glenn, th- Kaz kind of brushed it off. Like he says, it's fun to write about this guy, but for me, I have this I have this lack of confidence in him.
Mm,
And the fact that they're going full all in with this guy, because that's clear as day. The fact that they're letting him tear this roster apart, build it his way with his players and his draft picks, which is clearer than ever. Are they right to be putting that kind of faith and confidence in a guy that's 1-7? Like, I don't care that you look better against the Bengals, who had the worst defense in the NFL. I don't care that you had 500 yards of offense against the worst defense in the NFL. I don't care. That's garbage. It's like garbage time touchdowns that they've thrown in the first 5-6 games of the season, Frankie. It's like those don't matter. That's not in context that needs to be in context. I need to see if you actually can improve as a head coach and a talent evaluator over the next 7, 8, 9 games. Like, that's what I care about, and that's where I have serious doubts on what this Jets regime can do for this franchise.
yeah, man, it's a great question. I mean, it's tough to separate Aaron Glenn, the GM, versus Aaron Glenn, the head coach. Today gave me a lot more confidence as Aaron Glenn, the GM, just because he's able to make some really tough decisions that are not going to go over well with a lot of the fan base. And at the same time, basically message out to everyone that this is a rebuild, everyone. If you're not recognizing that before, you'll recognize it now. But I do like the move. I think it had to be done, and I don't think it's easy to do. So Aaron Glenn, the GM, the tough decision starting with Aaron Rodgers in the offseason, which I agreed with him on. In hindsight, maybe it wasn't the best idea, but at that point, I agreed with him. I like Aaron Glenn, the GM. I don't like Aaron Glenn, the head coach, though. I don't. I'm not going to like 1-7. You won a game that basically got lucky winning to a large degree. So, although you could have taken a win in that Tampa game or however, so maybe they should be 1-7 at the end of the day anyway, however you slice it up. But I don't have faith in Aaron Glenn, the head coach. I don't, but the GM I do, Rye.
Yeah, I mean, there were Brees Hall throwing a touchdown pass away from being 0-8 right now and tearing this whole thing down, which again would have a different feel, in my opinion, about this.
Isaiah Davis, that far off from that not being called a 2-point conversion, and
it's crazy how these margins work.
That.
Look, after this trade, the Jets were going into today before the deadline, 2.5-point favorites against the Browns this week at home. It is now flipped all the way to the Browns being 2.5-point favorites now at MetLife against the Jets. That's how much of a big of a swing it was with Quinnen.
Wait, really?
Yes.
It went from us 2.5 to them 2.5?
Yes. That big of a swing. 5-point swing.
Vegas, they don't know ball. They don't watch Sauce and Quinnen disappear on Sundays. They don't know ball.
It's Dylan Gabriel, the rookie quarterback, tearing us up probably on Sunday. Final thoughts for you, Frankie, as we head into now this bleakness of winter. End of fall, winter with the Jets, and now it's a full rebuild, and it's going to be rough watching these games the rest of the year, man. I'm not going to lie to you.
Well, to quote the great Meek Mill, I used to pray for times like this.
Dude, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of this.
You know what? You're gonna be sick of this for a little bit longer.
I feel like 2026 is going to be a fucking disaster. Am I crazy?
We'll see. We're going to know a lot about this team and what they want to do in the offseason and in the draft. So that's going to be a big part of it, because you're going to know if they want to spend on offense, if they want to spend on the defense and fix up and patch together some of these issues that are going to come because Sauce is gone and Quinnen's gone. So as bad as the defense has been, it's going to get worse, but you're going to know what they're going to want to do in 2026. But Ryan, I love the fact that they have flexibility for once. I don't feel like we're handcuffed by anything. That's the thing. The Jets are free finally. We're free to do what we want. We don't have a quarterback on the roster. We don't have any, contracts that we don't like on the roster. We don't have to pay really anybody moving forward on the roster outside of Brees. We have 5 first-round picks and 3 second-round picks the next 2 years. This is beautiful. We can fly. Remember, we flew in the locker room after the win? We can fly now. You want to fly with us? Fly with us now. We got 5 first-round picks. I love this, man. I'm very excited. This is one of the best days I think the Jets franchise has had in years. I really do, Ryan. It's because, Ryan, they have to find a damn quarterback. Point blank. And they have the offensive line. Draft. Listen, it might not happen. It might not happen. No, it's like if you put a gun to my head right now and say, Frankie, are the Jets going to find a 12 to 14 quarterback? I'm saying ranked wise, a little bit above average quarterback that's going to be starting here in 3 years. I would say still no.
Yeah,
but
it does. What gives you confidence?
I'm definitely saying no yesterday. That's the point. Today okay. I'm saying no, but I'm like, maybe yes. I'm feeling
maybe
something.
Yes, but you're saying this is one of the greatest days in Jets history in the last couple of years?
Well, I'm saying in the last 10 years in terms of our ability to move around in the draft. Ryan, this is going to be something like Kaz said. How did the Lions rebuild through the draft? Maybe the question we posed him was wrong in terms of trading players being like the Lions. Maybe the real answer he gave us was the fact that the Lions did it through the draft. And the Jets are going to want to do it through the draft. And I think Darren Muji, we didn't give him enough credit. I don't know what that guy's doing. I don't think anybody does. He's been referred to as a sidekick. I don't know what the guy is. People call him AI Muji because he's an AI GM, they call him. Someone's like, oh, maybe AI is smarter than humans. That's why this makes so much sense. But shout out to ChatGPT, by the way. Great service. You haven't used it. But Darren Muji has done an excellent job, because if you look at some of those deals, there's been a negotiation back saying, no, we want this. No, we want that. Give us that. Sure. Or no. Shout out to Darren Muji, man. Sometimes those former players that kind of sucked, but they played, they're kind of like the best like GMs, I feel like, because they don't think they know everything, but they kind of get what it means to struggle and stink at doing your football job. So they kind of like get it. I don't know who said that. I think Skip Bayless said that a while ago. Like the best players are the worst GMs and stuff like that. But no, seriously, that's like a thing actually. Like the best players like the worst coaches.
I know.
But I'm saying like maybe this Muji guy is like the unfound potentially like really good GM that no one's really talking about. He's been like clowned because he's got a weird last name. Maybe he's the guy, man. Him and Angstrand. I mean, this is coming together, man. I'm telling you, this is all coming together. I'm joking, but I'm Ryan. You're not happy with these moves, like
No, I'm
like you have to be, no, like at least with one of them.
All right, listen. There's two modes of thought here. I'm extremely happy with what they were able to get for these two players. Extremely happy. I think they crushed it. Like
Totally.
they won these trades so badly that I'm questioning truly what the Cowboys and Colts are doing with and if they understand how the draft works. I'm truly questioning that. No doubt about it. Like the Jets dominated today in the trade deadline. I've never seen a team dominate as well as they did today, which is like crazy that that's our friggin' Super Bowl as fans that we have to root like this. This should not be what we're rooting for on November 4th, Frankie. We should be rooting for, hey, can we get our 7th win this year? Like that's what we should really be talking about. We're not there yet because of how dysfunctional this team is, because of how horrible this owner is, because of how incompetent this front office looks like. All that is equal to me now having to rely on an insane deadline that I have never seen in my lifetime or your lifetime that the Jets pulled off, that this is what's giving me hope because they pulled these two moves off and they got insane returns. I'm happy about that. Super happy about it. But I am super depressed that I have to watch another rebuild for this franchise because they can never get it right. And the part that I want to pull back on here about all the hope that you're talking about and all the happiness that Jets fans have about this rebuild, guys, there is zero guarantee, zero, that you can hit these picks and find that quarterback you've desperately been trying to find since Joe freaking Namath. Now, you can say this gives you a much better chance. No doubt. It gives you a much better chance to find that quarterback. But I have serious doubts about the guy who paid Justin Fields $40 million and said, that's the guy we can go win football games with as a quarterback. And then he's supposed to evaluate the talent coming out this year and next year and say, I'm going to find that quarterback that's our franchise superstar and to help us turn this around. So I have doubts about it. It's all here we go again. And it goes back to what I told you and Kaz before from Kruger. If you weren't with us with the Jets rebuild, don't be with us with the rebuild again. So it's just it's a constant cycle, Frankie, of here we go again.
You said that beautifully. You did, but I'm gonna push back on one thing. Where are we at right now with these guys on our roster anyway? Where are we at? 1-7. Last year, 5-12. This team sucks.
I know
Sauce Gardner's overrated.
Yeah,
Quinnen Williams has checked out since his deal to a
that.
degree.
I'm
just saying, like I know, but I'm like, I hear you, and you saying that made me as a fan be like, you're right there. What do we like? Come on, like we're always in this spot. But like there was no alternative, Ryan. That's better, right?
I guess
like,
for me, like I'm gonna be more tamed in terms of
no, it's fair.
How,
you said
how they
it well.
attack, like how they attack the trade deadline. I'm gonna be more tamed by how they go about the draft in the offseason now. Like I'm not gonna go with expectations of we're finding our quarterback this draft. Like I don't know. You don't know.
So you think 2026? You keep bringing that up is going to be sort of another like lateral rebuilding
feels
kind of year
because everything I'm hearing and everything I'm seeing is that there are a lot of quarterbacks like Ty Simpson and Dante Moore are going to go back for another year in college. And these quarterbacks need
that kid in
experience.
Duke. It's really good too. That Mensa kid's a good quarterback. We'll speak about that later on. If people are interested in quarterback talk, we'll go through all that stuff later.
We'll get there, but we still have what? How many games, Frankie? 8 more games? 9 more games to talk about?
Yeah,
like
9 more games.
9 more games. So there's a lot of football to be played, and I just don't know if you're really gonna feel confident after this year, being like 2026. These first round picks and the second round picks, we're gonna be looking real great. It's like don't know about that, man. Like, it might be a long rebuild. So,
I'll
look,
say this. I'll say this one last thing. It's going to be interesting to see where we finish in draft position, and
yep,
we're going to have a draft party, everyone. So if anyone
yep.
wants any information, hit up Ryan or myself on Twitter or New York Post Sports or U Stadium. Hit us up. We're going to have a little draft party. It'll be fun. We'll have 2 picks, right? Now, if we're picking 5th or 4th, Ryan, if they look at the draft and they're like, oh, Tennessee's picking 1. Let's say they pick the Bain kid out of Miami, who's projected to go high, edge guy, really good. Then let's say, there's rumors Caleb Downs is going, whatever. Maybe he gets drafted. If they want to trade up a few picks to go get Mendoza, to go get Dante Moore, Ty Simpson, they can give up a first-round pick.
Absolutely.
So not only do we have 5 first-rounders in the next 2 years, one of those first-rounders this year is actually going to be probably a top 5 or 6 pick, which is nice. But yeah, again, maybe we're delusional. I think Kaz got a sense from maybe me a little bit, like the Jeff fan delusion. This rebuild.
That's what I'm saying, man.
It's never
Don't.
building.
Yeah, it's forever rebuilding. That's
Yeah,
where like it needs to be final. This needs to be the final rebuild. This needs to be actually we're building like that. Am I crazy though? This
the
needs to be
final countdown.
but it does. This has to be the last time you are tearing it down. And this has to be we're finding the studs that we're going to build our foundation around. And we're going to find that
I agree with
freaking
you. They
quarterback
need
that
to.
has eluded this franchise for so long.
Yes,
Like
yes,
they
sir.
messed up Sam Darnold, they messed up Zach Wilson, they messed up Geno Smith, they've messed up a ton of chances at quarterback. They have to now find that quarterback. And I'm not guaranteeing it's going to be this year. I'm not, because I don't know. And I don't think anyone knows what this quarterback class is going to be.
No.
But all I'm saying is right now, prepare yourselves. This is going to be a rough year and a half. I'm just telling you right now, it's going to be a rough 2026. It just is, because there is no guarantees you're going to find the quarterback in this draft, and there's no guarantees that you're going to be a better team next year. So just prepare yourselves, Jets fans. This could get really, really dark, even more dark than when it currently is at 1-7. This can get worse. So prepare
But
yourselves.
I think it's darker. But there's one thing, right? I see the light. There's a light back there, and that light has a few things there that I like. Not
Yeah,
Tanner Engstrand's face. It's
that
5
that
first-round picks.
that light is you at 85 years old passing away and going into heaven because the Jets have done nothing.
You're unbelievable. You know what, man? I'm trying to. I was all happy today. I came on the stream,
I'm
and
a
then
realist,
you
man.
and Kaz are giving me a reality check, which I
It's
appreciate.
reality.
I'm gonna be the fan on the show.
Well, do you want to
Obviously.
be like Jake
But
Asman, who I love, who like forgive me, I was watching before, but like Jake was
I
like,
wasn't watching yet. I
oh
was doing
God, he's like, what the hell are they doing? They signed Sauce, they trade him. What like this
I
regime? Now we have to
disagree with
give
that.
them
I'll
more
talk with
time.
Jake.
But like he's like he hates Aaron Glenn, he hates Darren Muji, like he doesn't trust them, which is understandable why he doesn't trust them, because they haven't looked great at all. Like nothing has looked good here. But I also think there's like a part of you that has to go, look, the owner's not firing them. You kind of have to get behind him now and hope that they figure this out, which I'm going to try to hope for. But I also know in the back of my mind, I've seen this happen in 2020, in 2017, I can go back however many times. This Jets team and franchise has never figured it out when they want to rebuild. This looks like they want to go full rebuild with 5 first-round picks in the next 2
Oh,
years.
they are. There's a rebuild.
Right.
This is more of a rebuild, Ryan, than I even said in the offseason. When we said
Correct.
it's a retool, I went on our show, I went on Jake's show, I went on Twitter, I went on Spaces. I'm like, everyone, it's a rebuild. I didn't think it would get to this depth, but this is actually what they needed to do to properly rebuild. I thought they would rebuild with Fields, and then you have Tyrod. You don't really care too much. If Fields plays badly, keep him in, lose a bunch of games. I thought that would be the extent of it. Maybe you trade someone at the deadline. Maybe you get a first rounder. I thought Quincy was going to get moved for sure. Dude, this is like we're and they're putting everyone on notice too. Listen, that locker room's not going to be a happy place. I don't know what.
It's going to be brutal tomorrow,
it's
man.
not.
It's going
just
to be
not,
brutal.
and it is what it is. And I'm fine. And you know what? I think it has to be that way. I think what they're doing, Ryan, I don't think there was another way to get this thing right. I think that this is the best path forward, my opinion. We'll see.
Yeah, I'll end with this. Jermaine Johnson said, quote, "I'd be lying if I said I was happy my brothers are gone because I am not. I'm
Oh,
not. I'm
please.
sick right now. But I believe strongly in the organization. I believe strongly in the staff and my other brothers in the locker room. I said when I got drafted here, I wanted to be the reason or part of the reason this thing gets changed for the better, and that there's going to be continue that there's going to continue to be at my outlook. I love this team and this fan base, and you all wanted to continue to get my absolute best on and off the field. Let's look onward and upward because better things are coming, and I give my word on that. Go Jets always, green heart emoji."
These guys are too emotional, man.
Oh,
I'll
I
tell you
mean,
right
it's
now,
your career, Frankie.
Aaron Glenn's not emotional. Ryan, it's a business. Aaron Glenn said it in his first presser. Maybe
Correct.
we don't give him enough credit.
He
He
learned
goes,
from Bill Parcells. I know.
yes.
When
He
Bill
goes, you know what
Parcells said
Parcells told me?
anyone's
I
tradable.
love you, kid, but there's a price tag over your head.
Correct.
And there was a price tag. And Aaron Glenn wasn't lying. Maybe we didn't give him enough credit. Maybe he's more like Parcells than we thought he was, honestly.
Let's
As a
relax on that
GM,
talk. Let's
I'm just
relax on
saying,
that talk.
not as an X's and O's coach, even though
We'll see.
Parcells had
We'll
his
see.
issues there too.
That's a show. For Ryan Sampson for the New York Post, for Frankie Vittorini from U Stadium. That's the Gangs All Here live show post trade deadline. We'll be back later this week to preview Jets versus Browns, and Frankie and I will be doing Jets versus Browns post game live show as well. Stick around here on the New York Post Sports YouTube channel. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button.
Say it, Ryan.
Go Jets. That's how we always end the show, right, Frankie? Go Jets. We'll catch you all next time, and we appreciate you all for hopping on here and